Hello, hello from Lavender Shedrick Williams. Thank you again for joining me on my YouTube channel. I so appreciate you stopping by to hear what I have to say. I am the owner of Candy Publishing. It's an independent publishing company that I started about 5 or 6 years ago. And the creator of our latest publication, The Other Woman magazine. And this is the latest issue. It comes out 3 times a year. And this is the latest one, hot off the press. And I come on YouTube 12, 15 minutes. I always got to set my clock and share some of my innermost feelings and thoughts and why I decided to leave my 20-year marriage. I was sitting here journaling this morning. I love to journal. I got journals. People buy me journals, tablets. I write my thoughts. I write ideas, goals. And I said, you know what? You got a publishing company. Why don't you create your own journals? So the Corona pandemic has brought a lot of creativity out of me. So I have a whole line of journals. And I have to give credit to my sister, Deborah Shedrick, who's an artist. The first 10 journals have her artwork on the cover of the journals. So I've got a second line coming up for just Candy Publishing journals. So this was the first one. I don't know if you can see it. I'm covered, sitting here journaling my Corona chronicles and all the creativity that's come out of me while I've been in quarantined. Even though I work from home anyway, the whole pandemic has just brought so much out of me, and I'm sure it has you. And I even created one for The Other Woman. It's a journal. Just disregard that line there that says not for resale. That was just for me to prove. And it's just blank pages. All the journals are just blank pages. And all the subscribers to The Other Woman magazine get a free journal. So as I'm sitting here journaling, I just thought, why don't you just go live on YouTube and share why you journal and how The Other Woman actually came to be. Hold on one second. So when the last broadcast I have, I was talking about financial abuse. This one, I'm sharing the steps that I took once I realized I got released. And if you've never heard me use that phrase before, I use released because I had to do everything in my power to save my marriage, to try to save my withering vows. I had to make sure I heard the voice from my creator that it was time to go, that I could go. I had forgiven. I had done all that I could do. And once I started hearing in my head that it's okay, my daughter, I'm letting you go, I had to start making a plan because I was at home homeschooling the boys. Well, actually, they were already in public school by this time. The oldest one had just graduated, I believe, or graduating. I can't keep up with it. That's why you journal. So you can have documentation of your days. That's why I like to journal. But I knew that I was inviting a financial struggle because I was used to having 2 paychecks. So I had to get a job, and I tried everywhere. I even tried the fast food restaurants. Here I am in my 50s, although I was retired Navy, I had to find a job. So who wants to hire somebody in their 50s who's been out of work? You know, I had my military career behind me, but that was my journey, looking for a job. Found a job at a radio station, and the job was an awakening for me. I worked with a bunch of men. I think it was a couple of other women in the station, but it was a majority of men. And working in that environment, musicians, artists coming in and out, that whole idea of the radio station, I felt like I had been living under a rock, just hearing the things that I was hearing, married men approaching me. It's like I had divorced, and I wasn't even divorced yet, written on my forehead, but they didn't care. So the job helped me to get a car. Now, I don't know what my unhusband, my then husband, was thinking, but this was all a part of my plan to leave. I couldn't just walk out. And I don't want anybody to think that I just packed my bags and got ready to go. It didn't go like that. I didn't want to leave my marriage. But again, I quote Nina Simone, when love is no longer served, it's time to get it from the table. So what was the point of me staying there when I didn't feel like I was in a marriage? I felt like I was in a marriage by myself. So got a job, got a car. He even came to see the car that I picked out. And I really didn't pick it out. My credit picked it out. A single income. My credit wasn't the best. You know, marriage can mess up your credit. So go back to the previous video when I talk about financial abuse and some of the things that I just wasn't aware of that didn't come to light until after I left my marriage. So even when it came time to get car insurance, that was another payment that I had. And he thought that he was going to be on the insurance. So he had no clue then that I, in my mind, was planning my walk out of the marriage. So had to get a job after being at home with the boys and homeschooling. And I loved being a stay-at-home mom, a domestic engineer, buying a car insurance, and then finding a place to live, an apartment. That was a lot, but I invited that struggle. And I have to say, it was difficult in the beginning where the boys came with me. I even had to ask my then husband to help with food for that first month that I was there because I had to pay first month's rent and the security deposit and, everything else that's entailed with a new apartment. Plus it was expensive because the allergies, I couldn't have any carpet. So the flooring, that raised the price. But I did what I had to do. And that's when this book came, When All Hell Breaks Loose. This book, I call it How to Weather the Storms of Life, a survival guide for women. This was a form of journaling also. When I just shared, that was probably one of the most difficult storms that I went through, was my 20-year marriage ending. It was difficult for me to write everything that I went through in one book. So I think that was the reason for all the journaling and all the separate books. My first book I don't have in front of me, We Snap in Silence. That's when I was enjoying my life as a wife and a mother, being at home. Even though We Snap in Silence says what I was thinking in my head while I was happy, those were my feelings. Those were my thoughts that I wanted to share with women. And that goes back to the Other Woman magazine. She's going deeper. These aren't just my words. These are words from women and men now who have jumped on The Other Woman and submit articles of how they feel, how they encountered the other woman, things that we go through as women that we don't necessarily want to share with each other out of embarrassment, or we feel like we're alone in it. But the mission of The Other Woman, and I love reading it, she says, "It is my mission to help you discover the silent and often suppressed woman resting within and infuse a desire to live courageously without reservation or regret." The Other Woman magazine, it is a place where I don't want women to feel like they have to wait till they get my age to find their other woman, that other woman in you that wants to live, but she won't live because we won't release her because of fear of judgment, fear of getting to know who we really are, our upbringing, family, friends, standards of society, the choices that are put on us, the suggestions that are given to us on how to live our life. You have to realize that we have one life to live, one life to live. So I always end the broadcast saying, meet the other woman, that other woman in you. Meet her, that woman who wants to maybe do something different that she's never done before or always wanted to do. Take a trip, take a vacation, buy a house, start a business, write a book, journal, have a child, depending on what your age is, get married. Some things that you may have fear doing, don't wait until you run out of life and realize I should have, would have, could have, should have, would have, could have. The other woman embraces life, and that's a goal of mine, is to infuse life. The one life that you have, live your life according to your choices. So you can subscribe to The Other Woman magazine on candypublishing.net. This is the latest issue. She's going deeper. The first issue was Exposed and Uncovered. Exposed and Uncovered. So she comes out 3 times a year. This is a debut issue, and you can actually get a sneak peek of the debut issue on Candy Publishing. There's a link there at the top of it where it says sneak peek, and I think the first 12 or 15 pages you can look at and read for free. But I encourage you to meet the other woman. Don't be afraid to embrace the other woman and free the other woman and live your life, the one life that we have, ladies and men now. Speaking of men, on Wednesday nights, there's a wind down Wednesday with the other woman that me and a previous coworker, Vernon Watson, also known as the Blues Hound, we get a little bit deeper and raw on some of the articles, and we talk about relationships, dealing with the other woman, finding the other woman. Every Wednesday night at 9:00 p.m. Central Time, we talk about and we talk freely about the Other Woman magazine. That's my timer to shut up. We talk about issues dealing in relationships with married couples, singles, and men. So there's a section for all of us in the Other Woman magazine. Single section, married couple section, section for the man from a man's mind. And this issue has an article titled The Value of the Vagina. And there's a man and a woman's perspective. Vernon Watson, the Blues Hound, and I share our perspective on the value of the vagina. So go to candypublishing.net. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and just continue to pop in. I thank you so much for your support. This is nothing formal. It's like sitting down and having a cup of tea, and I'm just sharing my life. So thank you again for tuning in. Meet the other woman, embrace the other woman, and free the other woman. So until next time, enjoy your day and stay safe. I know some states are opening up with the whole corona pandemic and the quarantine going on. Stay safe, do what you have to do to keep you safe, your family safe, yourself safe, should I say. And it's a blessing for some to be able to go back to work. We have to have money, but also there's some who are still a little hesitant about venturing out into Coronaville. So just do you. Again, those are choices that you have to make. But remember, that's your life. So you make and live your life according to your choices. That's the other woman. Okay, bye-bye until next time.